language. So we have with us, if we have French participants, so if you are a French speaking person, please do well to just use your favorite emoji, a thumbs up, use something to tell us in French that, oh, I'm French, we, or any other French language you can use. I'm not good at speaking French, but just tell us know that, oh, I speak French. But then if you are a French speaking person, you can when you log into the Zoom meeting, you can you should be able to see the interpretation button. Just click on it and you'll be able to choose your preferred language. And for now, what we have available is French. You would hear, once you do that, you would hear the translated audio, which is a French audio, and you would also be hearing me at a lower volume. But then if you do not want to listen to me, if you don't want to listen to me, you can turn off the original speaker, and by clicking mute original video, and you would just only be listening to the interpreter. Please also kindly note that this is only open to those who are using the audio, the computer audio, and or those who are using their Zoom app on their mobile phones. It's not available for those who are using the telephone dial-in users. And then also housekeeping would love to, this is a visibility event, a branding event, a storytelling event, but we all would love to have some laid down rules and regulations for smooth engagement and learning experience for all of our participants. So we'll start with the engagement. Please, you can use the expression button, raise hand, thumbs up, or any other expression you would love to use to contribute or call our attention. And also we encourage all our participants to participate in all the relevant phases of this event. So you are free to use the chat box to contribute, to send in your questions, and also there'll be an opportunity where you'll be allowed to speak during our Q&A sessions. Please kindly respect our time. This is quite a short time for this session, but please do respect our time. Keep your questions brief, short, and simple, straight to the point, no long torachi, as we say over here in Nigeria. And also, please refrain from posting anything that is not relevant to this event. Our run through our agenda is we'll be going through our introduction, our housekeeping, which we have just done, and then we'll take you about AFC. Then we'll go to the meat of this session. I'm particularly excited, pumped up, and waiting for, looking forward to this particular session. I'm also here to learn, just like you are, and then we'll have an opportunity to have Q&A. So ensure you have your notes, your jotter, your pen, notepad, any single thing you can use to jot down your questions, pen them down. If you don't have that, you can also use your phone, which you are using, or your laptop to drop your questions in the chat box. I'll be closing out with the surprise incentives, next steps, and also a closing remark. And then now it's time. We'd love to meet you. This is an opportunity to meet like-minded agripreneurs, people who are so interested in learning, in growing and relearning and getting to the better version of themselves. So kindly introduce yourself, starting with your name, your country, and agribusiness. Do not forget to don't just drop your name, drop your agribusiness, drop your country. You can never know who you can meet. You can meet somebody in your locality, or you can meet somebody who is doing something similar from you that you would love to share experience, exchange learnings. So I will start with myself. My name is Indegiju Anna Mambula, and I serve as the communications officer here at AFC. I don't have an agribusiness, so let's take AFC as my agribusiness. And I'm here right in Abuja, Nigeria. So that's the modality in which we would be using to introduce ourselves. So I'll be going to the chat box to give a shout out. I expect that we should see people introducing themselves already. Like just drop in your chat box. I can see a couple of persons already doing that. I can see Asimi, Simon. I can also see Cecilia. I can see Gloria from Abuja, Nigeria. I can see somebody giving me a thumbs up already. Thank you so much. I can also see Nelson, who is an organic farmer. Somebody from Zimbabwe, amazing, a non-Nigerian, somebody from Eswatini, and I see somebody already saying bonsoir. Bonsoir to you too, whatever that means. I think it's good evening to you too. Priye Batoye. Let's keep introducing ourselves, engaging with persons, meeting new people. Before we move on to the next segment of the event, we would be having a quick poll. We'd love to know you, we'd love to know your current level and understanding. We'd love to know what is your expectations for today's session. What are you looking forward to learning? What do you want to pick from this session? How is your knowledge on the use? What's your knowledge base on visibility? So you should be seeing a quick poll on your screen right now. Just 6 simple questions. no long grammar. So we'll be pushing the poll now. I believe you should be seeing it on your screen. Simple 6 questions. Would love to know what is your current understanding. It will help us trainers who are on the session today to know how to also better structure the approach. What would you rate your current understanding of branding for your agri business? And then how confident are you in using social media to promote your business? And also the third question would be, how often do you currently use social media to promote your business? Fourth question is, what is your biggest challenge with visibility or brand storytelling? That's the essence of this class. I'm certain that by the end of this class, you will not have any issue when it comes to storytelling, visibility, or positioning your business. And our fifth question is, we would love to know which of these social media platforms do you regularly use for your business? We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. The list goes on and on. So, what social media would you are you using currently? And then finally, we'd hope to learn what do you want to pick away from this session? What key takeaways are you planning to get from this session? So we have questions. I already see a couple of persons who are answering. Thank you to the amazing 24 change makers who have answered the poll. Let's have more people answering as more people are joining. If you're just joining us now, introduce yourself. You should see a poll on your screen asking you about your current knowledge as it has to do with branding. Let's have more people join. I'm just saying 30%. I need us to reach at least 50% benchmark of our attendees of today's session to be able to move ahead. I can see a lot of persons that are users of YouTube and Instagram. That's quite interesting. So, and then these surveys would also help us understand how best to offer further trainings that would be best suited to your needs. If we understand that you already have a basic understanding of what visibility and branding is, you need an upgrade. This would help us to better structure those sessions to be able to meet with your needs. Okay, so we have 45% that have answered. Let's make it, we are 121 on the call, so it means half of it would be 61 and a half. So let's make it 62 persons, please. Let's keep on answering. Thank you so much. We're at 54. So we have less than 6 persons, and would put an end to our poll. Thank you so much. Let's keep the responses coming. Like, it's quite interesting what I'm seeing. Responses are really great. Thank you so much. We have in 2, 3, 1. I don't think I'm calling that right. Let me start again. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you for the 66 persons that have responded to our poll. So now we're going to be pushing the results. So you get to see your responses. We've had what would you rate your current understanding on branding? We have a couple of persons who are excellent. Those are our pros here, but they're here to still learn more. We have those who are good. We have those who are like, fair enough. And we have about 3%, which is poor, which I'm grateful for. We don't have a lot of poors here. How confident are you? We have 35% saying very confident, 39% said fairly confident. I'm certain by the end of this session, you'd be extremely confident. And then I'm seeing how often do you promote your business. Thumbs up to the 17% who actually said daily. We see you, we appreciate you. But I see 42% says, if you, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to visibility? I don't know where to start. I see I'm not consistent. I don't know what to say or post. Somebody said, 3% said I feel shy or fear to be judged, and I'm not convinced. I'm seeing we have more persons using and Instagram, and then we have 30% of us attendees today saying they want to know how to tell better stories, and 39% actually said all of above. They're here to learn all. They're Oliver Twists. They want all of everything. So thank you so much to every single person who has participated in this poll. And I can assure you that by the end of this session, you would be confident and know how to better tell your brand story, the amazing job you're doing. So I'll be calling on our programs operations manager here at African Food Changemakers, who'll be giving you a tidbit into what we are at AFC. A couple of persons already know what AFC is. If you are a member of our community, just give me. I know a couple of persons know, but some people here are new. So Ruth would be taking you on what we are at AFC, what we stand, and what we are offering to the African food ecosystem. Hi, Ruth. Over to you, please. Hello, Ruth. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I was just looking at the participation box and I see us climbing. We have over 161. Good afternoon, everyone. Anna, I was expecting the presentation to be on presentation mode. And on my slide, I don't think it's there yet. I don't know if it's from my end or actually
I think
what
it's
everyone
network.
is seeing.
So let me try and
Okay.
reshare. I'll stop sharing and share
Yeah,
again.
stop sharing and reshare so that we can be on the same page. Good afternoon, everyone. I can see the excitement on everyone dropping their introductions, dropping their emojis, and responding to the survey, the poll. It's really interesting to see that many of us are consistent and many of us are also looking out to tell their stories better. And so the AgriStory Lab, I think it's a need for now. So Anna, can I just go on like that, or I wait for you to share your screen? Anna, can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Modesta, good afternoon from all over Africa, all over the world, joining us in our very first AgriStory Lab. So about Africa Food Changemakers. Anna, can you hear me? Can I go on? Hello, Anna. Okay. I think I can just, Anna, I need your cue.
Yes, Ruth, you can go on, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So Africa Food Changemakers, we are a non-profit organization committed to nourishing Africa. Africa Food Changemakers is basically a dynamic organization sitting at the intersection of entrepreneurship, agriculture, food, education, and technology. Our mission is to empower small and medium-sized entrepreneurs across Africa by equipping them with the tools, the knowledge, the networks needed to scale resilient and sustainable agribusiness. We believe that African agri-food sector consists of visionary entrepreneurs like you and every other person in this call and every other person in the community working tirelessly. And so we call each and every one of you change makers, believing that you're the lifeblood of the food ecosystem. So, but we understand that there are so many devastating impacts that face SMEs, agribusinesses. And so Africa Food Changemakers was established to provide the support needed to mitigate all those risks and shocks that SMEs go through around climate change, around global and local risks and shocks, around macro and microeconomic challenges. You know, there's so many challenges. If I ask now in the room, there's so many challenges that SMEs like you go through. So Africa Food Changemakers was established to provide the support needed for funding, for training, for visibility, market linkages, and a community of support to successfully scale your agribusiness. So through Africa Food Changemakers Hub, we enable each and every one of you to scale resilience and sustainable agribusinesses that nourish Africa and the world. Our focus in this particular event is the visibility focus. So we give you funding, we give training, but we also know that you have a need for visibility, for market linkages, for you to be seen for what you do as an agribusiness, for what you produce as an agribusiness. And so that's what we do. We firmly believe that you are the backbone. And our mission is to enable you scale your resilient agribusiness. At the heart of our mission is a belief that you are pivotal in Africa's future prosperity. We aim to create the environment that enables your business to thrive. We aim to equip you with everything you need to thrive. And we do that through collaborative business models, which peer-to-peer support, which the hub provides. Can we move to the next slide? Our work is around our programs impact. So all the programs that we design in Africa Food Changemakers is to address the peculiar issues that you go through as an agribusiness. So our programs are around gender inclusion in the agri-food sector. Our programs are around export capability building. Our programs are also around climate smart practices, being able to build sustainable businesses by adopting climate smart practices. We also have the changing narrative agenda in Africa Food Changemakers. And that changing narratives actually is what we believe will change the global perception about Africa's potential to feed not just itself, but to feed the whole world. So basically, what we understand is that while we are increasing, you are scaling your business, your reach and your recognition is also scaling. We believe that as you scale up, the more people you can reach, the more your brand will go globally, the more recognition would also get. And so I'm excited about today's event because that reach and recognition is powered by the stories you're able to generate, the stories of what you're doing, you're able to tell, and how you're able to position your brand to be able to speak to what you actually do and change the perception about Africa. That is our goal. That is our mission. Our vision is to see 1 million successful and sustainable African agribusinesses that are transforming the food ecosystem and are recognized and respected across the globe. And we believe that this AgriStory Lab will be your first step in that process of being one of the most recognized agri-food businesses, when you're able to build a distinct brand and craft your story that can be globally accepted and globally positioned to give you the impact and also communicate the impact that you make where you are. So we thank you all for joining this session, and as we go on, we're going to learn more and more about how to join Africa Food Changemakers. Just in case you're here, you don't know anything about Africa Food Changemakers, this is what we do. And if you're interested in joining us as an agribusiness, you're here, you're interested in joining us as an agribusiness, in the course of this event, you'll get to know how to become a member. We have members, we have people who follow us, we have program beneficiaries and participants, and we're always putting out resources, we're always putting opportunities, we're always organizing events, whether virtual or in person, to ensure that we provide you with all you need to scale your agribusiness. The slides are actually going ahead of me or behind me, but I believe I've spoken about our program. So our key programs, which I have mentioned before, are the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks, our BRACE program, which is focused on climate smart practices for the producers and the processors of food. We also have the export capability program called the Scaling Export Program, as well as the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship. That fellowship program aims to identify women who are doing impactful work in the agri-food landscape and recruiting them into the program so that we can elevate their brand and make them models for other women to be inspired by, and then from other people to get inspiration from the women who are in agribusiness. Then our changing narratives have spoken about that. We put up platforms, we create content generated from you as an agribusiness, content generated from the whole operations in the agri-food space, where we can project African food origins, where we can talk about food origins, global food origins that come from Africa, where we can talk about the colorfulness, the beauty, the diversity of our food culture, and then project it for the world so that they can get the real information and also understand what makes us who we are, and above all, understand our potential and our competence to feed not just ourselves, but feed the whole world, like I said earlier. So our changing narratives is part of our programs, as well as our Leading African Women in Food, Scaling Export Program, and Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks. You can learn more about us from our website, www.afchub.org. You will get more information as to how you can join us as members, how you can follow our social media. So we're always putting out those resources. We're always putting out everything you need. And you really, really need to join the AFC Hub if you are not a member. But we'll get to that later after we are done for the objective of the day, which is to help you craft your stories and help you communicate your impact and your uniqueness as an agri-food entrepreneur. So thank you everyone for joining us. We hope that you will enjoy this session, and all your expectations for this session will be met, and we'll be looking out for your responses at the end of this session to gauge the level of impact that we know you will have after the session. So thank you everyone for joining. I'll be handing back the baton to Anna, who will take us to the next step of this event. Thank you very much. Anna.
Thank you so much, Ro. Thank you so much, Ro. That was quite an in-depth dive into what we do here at AFC. If you've not heard about us, this is enough for you to write a whole draft about what AFC is about. Thank you so much for an amazing overview. So we'll be moving on to the next session of today's event, which is our membership drive. Ruth has already spoken about what we do in our community, so you know, and you know the amazing things we do for African entrepreneurs. But then, how do you join? So I'll be calling on my colleague from the membership department, who will be taking you on a quick, fast membership drive before we move on to today's session of how you can join our community, how you can benefit, and how you can just join this amazing community across over 49 African countries. Over to you, Nosa.
Thank you so much, Anna. Please confirm that you can hear me. Okay,
Yes, I
great.
can.
Okay, like you already emphasized, Ruth already did a good job talking about African food chain makers. And for our non-members on the call, what we do at African Food Chain Makers is simply to help entrepreneurs scale. We are focused on helping entrepreneurs across 49 African countries at present to scale their businesses. And we do this by offering a community of support to our entrepreneurs. We also implement programs that are targeted at helping these entrepreneurs to scale. Presently, we have members across 49 African countries with a community of over 7,000 plus members. And some of the opportunities that we give our members include helping them to strengthen their businesses and to scale. We also prepare their businesses to enter new African market through the programs we implement, some of which we already spoke about, the Scaling Export Program, the BRACE Program, and the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship Program. We also help our entrepreneurs to facilitate access to funding opportunities, to speaking opportunities, and to exhibition opportunities. We also have a designed, curated opportunities hub on our website where entrepreneurs can visit and also access links to opportunities that help them to scale their businesses, opportunities from funding opportunities to events, to training and capacity building opportunities as well. We help our entrepreneurs to grow that visibility, one of which is the reason why we are here today to talk about how you can promote your social media presence as an entrepreneur. And we all know the importance of having a visible social media presence in today's world in terms of our business activities as well. So we also give access to entrepreneurs through social media linkages, market linkages, and also the vibrant community of entrepreneurs. Having said this, I know we have a lot of community members on the call already, but I want to speak to those who are here to become part of the community by showing them how they can join the AFC community step by step. So if we can move to the next slide. Yes, thank you. So to join our community is way, way simple. You do this in two steps. First is by already knowing what to do at African Food Chainmaker, and this is just by following us on our social media or visiting our website regularly. Once you visit our website, which is boldly written on the screen, www.afchub.org, next is to navigate to the Join the Community icon. For those who are already members of our community, you just have to click on the login to be able to log into your dashboard. While for potential members, you only need to click on the join the community icon and you'll be taken to a page where you'll be asked about your personal information and your business information. For this, we only request that what you feel or the information that you provide is accurate and up to date. As this will help us to streamline the opportunities that we create for you as a community. Once you fill those information, don't not forget to click on submit because submitting makes sure that you already fill the form and you've assured us that the information you provided is up to date. Once you fill the submit form, you will temporarily receive an email that tells you that your submission has been received and you'll be reviewed within 48 hours. During that time, the membership team would review your applications and your submissions. And if you meet our criteria for the membership team, you will be verified as a membership community member and you'll be accessible to your membership dashboard. For you to be a member of our community, we only request that you meet the three criteria that we listed below. One is that you should have an agribusiness, that is, you should be the owner of the agribusiness, or you work in the agribusiness and you can make top decisions about the agribusiness. Second is that the business that you work for or that you own is in existence for at least 6 months before you sign up to be a member of the community. And lastly, is that you should have a social media presence, either a website or a social media page like a Facebook page or an Instagram page that speaks to the activities that you do in the agri-food sector. Once you meet those criteria, then you are open to becoming a member of our community. And please know that membership is free. You don't pay any penny to be a part of the community. All you want to do is to help your business scale and to change the food narrative system in Africa. At this point, I will hand over to Hannah and I will be in the chat box to respond to any membership related questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nusa. That was quite brief and straight to the point. We have already told you what you stand to gain when you join our community. If you are not part of the AFC community, you're missing out on a lot: knowledge, resources, networking opportunities, scaling up opportunities. The list goes on and on. So if you know an agripreneur, if you're part of the our community, but then you know an agripreneur, why haven't you invited them to join our community? And if you're part of our community, thank you so much. Kudos to you, thumbs up to you. So we'll be moving on to the next session of today. But before we review our speakers, I want to see drum rolls. I want to see emojis flying everywhere, drum rolls. I want to see how are we excited? Because I, for one person, is particularly excited about today's session. I'm here to learn. So what is your expectations? What are you looking forward to? Emojis. Okay, I can see Maria Saya is sending me love emojis. Please let's share our expectations. What are you looking forward to learning? How excited are you? And then And I'm introducing us because I want you to clap. I think there's a clap function feature here on Zoom. Use it. I'm seeing fire from Joyce Banda. Great. Okay, so next step is we'll be introducing our first speaker, who is next slide, please. Great. Our next speaker is Lampe Omoyele, who has spent over 30 years shaping some of the most recognizable brands across Africa. So if you've heard Airtel, you've heard Cadbury, and more. He's not just a marketing expert, he is a master of market influence. So you are learning from the best of the best. He is the managing director of Neutral 121 and a partner at the Lucent Consulting Company. He's also a teacher of marketing strategy at the Pan Atlantic University. He's a boardroom leader and a trusted advisor for many organizations, and he's also helping them to drive growth across the continent. He's named as one of the 100 most influential global marketing leaders, and he has also published, he's the author of a lot of books ranging from branding to poetry. And then Mr. Omoyele brings a rare blend of insight, experience, elegance, and on every stage he steps on. So with a resounding virtual applause, because we can't do, I thank you, Akan Williams, for the clap. Let us welcome our speaker. Let's keep clapping let's keep dropping the emojis till he turns on his camera and step onto the virtual podium. It's amazing to have you with us today, Mr. Lampe, and I particularly look forward to learning from you today, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Good afternoon. I was just waiting to be unmuted. Please confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I would just like to please share my screen, if that's okay. If I can be given the rights to share my screen. Fantastic. Thank you again. Please kindly confirm that you can see my screen.
Oh, yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, just trying to put it on slideshow. Okay,
It's not coming
on slideshow, but I'll just leave it here. I'm sure it's still visible. So please confirm again that you can see, so I can stick with this.
We are back to the Zoom interface. We can't see this slide anymore. Okay, great. Now we can see it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on which part of the world that you've joined this from. I'm grateful for the invitation by the AFC to share, and I shall be discussing crafting your story, the winning formula. I note down the poll that was done, and I see that we have a fair balance of those who are already familiar with branding, who are already executing visibility measures in their businesses, but I also note that there are a few who are not currently implementing any branding strategies. So my approach would be to create a balance for those who are already experienced and those who are in the process of learning and executing. And I'll be happy to take questions afterwards. I expect that this presentation should take about 30 to 40 minutes, after which I'll be happy to take questions. So I will start from the very, very basic in terms of, just give me a minute. I'm just trying to move the slides. Seems to be, just give me a minute. Just a minute.
Or would you want us to share from our end? We can be able to do that.
Well, yes, I obviously have an update, but unfortunately it seems not to be, just give me a
Okay,
minute.
so we have, okay.
It doesn't seem, I do have additional things that I've inputted, but let's just give it a minute. If it works, if it doesn't work, then we will have to record to you sharing for me. Are you able to see the slide? It's
I can't see the slide. I'm just not able to see. There should be like a button down that says you should be able to present down at the
yeah.
edge or something.
What I will do is I'll probably will just reshare. Just give me a minute. It's not scrolling down, but let me try and do something. Everyone, just give me a minute, and we'll see how this works. Okay. So you will just give me. Let me get out
Okay,
of
so
sharing. Let me get out of
there is
sharing for a minute, and then I would.
there is a button down just at the edge, I think where you can increase the size of your page. Let me check from my own slide to see. It would be the fourth button before the maximize and minimize icon. That should help you share.
Yeah, just
I
give a
think I
minute.
can see it from.
Let's see
Okay.
how this goes. Let's see how this goes. It's a bit of, beg your pardon, it's a bit of, okay. So I'll stop sharing and I'm gonna try to share again. Just a minute. Beg your pardon about this. Hopefully we resolve this very soon. Just a minute. Technology is an enabler. At times it can be a challenge, but we'll hopefully resolve this in a minute. Okay, can you please confirm to me that you can see the slide now?
Yes, great. It's not a
Great,
slideshow.
great, right. And you can see the next slide.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So, basic definition of branding. What is a brand? You probably have come across many definitions, but I have a simple definition that says a brand is an entity with a distinct identity and a means of differentiation. There are three keywords there, or four keywords. One is an entity, which means that a brand can be a place, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be an organization, it can be a service or an idea. And so in your line of business, it's an agric business or an agri-allied business. But then the other word there, which is important, is it has to be a distinct identity. And that's where the branding process starts. So you have many entities, but not all entities are brands. Not all entities are strong brands. Not all entities have distinct identity. So what you're trying to do in your business is to create a distinct identity such that when people hear about your business or your brand name, they know there's something unique about this brand or this business. And why is a distinct identity important? It's a means of differentiation. You have many players in the agric business, in the agric sector. So the branding process helps you to create a distinct identity as a means of differentiation. And when I speak about positioning and brand equity, you'll see why it's important to be differentiated if you want to grow your business. And essentially, a brand is a composite of values, experiences, and associations and expectations that are connected to that product, to that place. So, for example, even a country like Nigeria or Kenya, South Africa, are brands because their perceptions already created. But a caveat that a brand is not just about the logo, the trademark, or the name. It goes beyond logo, trademark, and name. There's a lot more that make up what a brand is. And leading to this point is that therefore a brand is a promise behind the logo. If you see a Coca-Cola, one of the things you're thinking about is that it should likely be a product that refreshes, or a product that is a thirst quencher. So when I go back to this slide, you're seeing a bottle of water which is unbranded versus a bottle of water which is branded with Nestle Pure Life. So it speaks to differentiation. It speaks to a promise, right? So that's what the brand is. So for your businesses, when you're building up a distinct identity and people come across your logo, there's a certain promise that you are making. The question is, are you fulfilling that promise? And that's what the branding process enables. And when you're thinking of a brand, think of it as just not one part. There's the tangible part of the brand, and there's the intangible parts. There's the functional part, and there's the emotional part. And I will speak to this as we go on. Many times, a lot of products are focused on the tangible part. They're focused on the functional part. But customers, consumers are making decisions not only about the functionality of your product or your service, not just about the tangibility, but there's also an emotional part that enables them to make wholesome decisions. So the tangible part is what you can taste, what you can see, what you can smell, what you can touch, what you can hear. So for example, there are many manufacturers or farmers of rice, right? That's a tangible part. So we can taste the rice. We can see the rice, we can smell it, we can touch it. We probably can even hear the sprinkle of the rice. But that's just the tangible part. There's an emotional part, which I will speak to shortly. The tangible part is about the sleek design of a phone, But we know this is not sufficient. For those who are iPhone users versus Samsung users, this is the tangible part. But it's the emotional that makes, in many cases, consumers decide whether to choose an iPhone or a Samsung. So the intangible part is about the sweet scent of a perfume. But why would a consumer choose perhaps a Hugo Boss brand over and above another brand? That is the emotional, not just about the functionality. It's about how easy you're using an app. But why would you choose one bank over another? Is it just about the functionality, or some emotional connection? So the intangible part is about feeling, how people feel about the product, how they feel about the brand. And that feeling is composed by sentiment. It has to do with attitude. It has to be with belief. So a product, therefore, has tangible and intangible. But where there's no perceived intangible part, where the consumer or the customer doesn't feel any emotional connection with a brand, then it becomes a commodity. In fact, you can't really call it a product. And so you have many rice types, many rice products, but they're not necessarily brands. And therefore, when consumers are making choices, they see them as commodities. But where you will begin to make a real difference and to grow in your business is when your product, your service moves from being a commodity to one which is differentiated to becoming a strong brand, right? And the basic definition of a commodity is a product that is so basic that it cannot be physically differentiated from competitive offerings in the minds of consumers. And therefore, a commodity is not able to command a premium. For example, if you happen to buy coffee and you had an unbranded one, the price that it will command is unlikely to be as high as one which is branded, say Starbucks or Nescafe or any other branded coffee product. And therein is the benefit of getting branded, of being visible, that it enables you to command a premium and make more money because your brand, your business is differentiated. And so a brand must offer consumers a value proposition, which is what the brand is offering, both from a functional and emotional benefit. It is the emotional connection a brand has that consumers will queue for miles to buy a new iPhone series. It's emotional. It's not necessarily because the functional benefits of the iPhone are significantly superior to a Samsung, for example. But I know that iPhone users would argue that the same way that Samsung loyalists will argue from a functional basis. But a lot of the decisions are based on emotions. So the value proposition that a brand will need is offer benefits that connect both functionally and emotionally and are relevant and believable to the target market, what is many times called the reason to buy. And so as we go on, I would like us to begin to reflect on our businesses, the products that we offer, the services that we offer. What is the reason to buy? Why should customers come to you and not somebody else? If you're a manufacturer or you're a farmer of beans, why should they come to you and not somebody else? If you happen to be a producer of fruits, why should they come to you and not somebody else? Millions of decisions are being made daily based on how consumers feel, not only on rational basis. And let's put ourselves in consumer shoes as well. How often do we make decisions, especially where there are no economic considerations, on emotional basis as opposed to pure logic? And so the point of this is that the branding process is not just about the functionality of the product that you offer, but there's also an emotional bit to it. And that leads me to this quote by BMW. What you make people feel is just as important as what you make. So it's a combination of tangible, intangible, emotional, and functional. And that leads me to speak about how you influence the consumer mind in terms of creating that both emotional connection and the functional connection. There's a term called positioning, which basically is about perception. And that is the space that a brand occupies in the mind of the defined target market. So every service, every product occupies a space. The issue, what you're trying to do for your business, whether it's agro-allied or pure agric farming, is what is that perception that you would desire for the target market to have. And brand building is a process which can be deliberate or inadvertent to create a perception in the target market's minds. And it's essentially through experiences that they have, contact they've made with you, or what they've heard about you. And you're building the brand because you want to build brand equity. And brand equity simply is the value that the target market places on your product or your service. So from occupying a space in the mind, you are getting to a point where they are placing value. Brands that have a stronger brand equity, that is, they command a greater level of equity, value in the minds of consumers, are more likely to do better in the marketplace. And so speaking about positioning, drinking a Coca-Cola feels refreshing. That's what, if I ask any Coca-Cola drinker here, I would say. But the question is drinking Coca-Cola really more refreshing than drinking Pepsi-Cola? What Coca-Cola has done is to position in the minds of the target market that it's a refreshing product. And so in the minds of the target market, they will think of Coca-Cola as being the brand that refreshes them, as opposed to perhaps Pepsi, Cola, or any other cola drinks. What Coca-Cola has done is to position Coke as refreshing in consumer minds. And so the learning for us here is how you can position your businesses in the minds of the target market with the perception that you desire for your businesses. So again, positioning is not what you do to a product. It's what you do to the mind of the prospect. And that's why the branding process is important. That's why building visibility is important. And we're going to be discussing how we can do that. Again, there's a quote by Walter Landau, which I've taken liberty to add to. The original quote says, products are made in a factory, but brands are created in the minds. And in our case, therefore, products are made in the factory, in the farms, but the brands are created in the minds of the consumer in the marketplace. So it's great to really focus upon your product and get the best quality, but you're going to win in the market when the consumer is aware of the product you're offering, the quality you're offering, and therefore they have a positive perception. Until that is done, you have not yet won in the marketplace. I think I've already spoken about brand equity. So what are the key drivers of brand equity? And I've already begun to speak about this. There's awareness and salience. Salience simply is about the knowledge that the marketplace or the target market has about your brand or your business. So this is the beginning point of driving a stronger brand and driving equity. Awareness. And linked to awareness is about visibility. If you are not visible, if there's no awareness about your product or your service or your business, you haven't begun the journey of brand equity. So that's the beginning point. And then there's the quality, the perceived quality. Again, we talk about perception here. So you have a great product, but then you must get the market to be aware of the product and the benefits of your product. The brand identity are the paraphernalia that you build, the assets that you build around your business. Logo, the name, the colors, the slogan, the things that consumers get to know that your brand stands for. Those are the things that are required. And then there's a brand loyalty level, how you build brand loyalty over a period of time, All right. I just want to confirm that everybody's still with me as we go on. Okay. Can I just get an emoji or someone to just give me a wave that we're still together? Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So how do you build a brand identity? You have to consider your product as a product, as an organization. Every brand has a personality, and then the symbol. So let me spend a bit of time around the symbols. It's about the visual imagery you have, the metaphors, the heritage. That's how you begin to build your brand. So there are stories, and I'll come to. There are stories that you can tell about the symbols. If I did this without saying a word, does anyone want to just tell me if I did this? And then what I'm doing is a tick. If I did that, what brand would come to your mind? If I just did that. Anybody? I'm happy to get it on the chat box. Just be sure that everybody is following me. All right. It's a Nike, right? A swoosh. So it's how you begin to tell stories. Nike can tell stories without even saying a word or showing the full name, because they built an identity over a period of time. And that's the power of storytelling. And just here, I give an example of what you do in terms of building a brand identity. And so this is, you have a logo here, you have a name, and then you have what you would like your brand to be seen as in the marketplace. So in the case of Nitro One-to-One, which happens to be a company I'm involved with, some of the attributes that the brand wants the marketplace to take away is enterprising, youthful, unfettered. So the question is, what are those things that you would like your brand, your business, to stand for in the marketplace? Over a period of time, the Nitro brand may choose to say, even without the name, that the marketplace should know, just in the logo, that this is Nitro brand, in the same way that a Nitro, or beg your pardon, the same way a Nike or a Mercedes-Benz will have a logo that is easily identifiable. So I think I've spoken to some of the key benefits of a strong brand identity. It's a source of competitive advantage. drives loyalty, drives profitability, increases market share. All right. So again, to reinforce the point, there's a correlation between building your brand, being visible, and marketplace leadership profitability. And in here, you can see, according to Interbrand, top 10 brands by brand equity. And we can see that they're all major players in terms of leadership profitability. And a common denominator for every one of these brands is storytelling. The Apple brand, a good storyteller. Samsung, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, Coca-Cola. And so that's going to lead us into how we can build our brands and tell better stories, especially in the digital world that we live in today. Essentially, storytelling is about sharing stories, right? Seems so simple, but it's essentially about sharing stories. At times, it could be improvised stories. At times, it could be embellished, but it's about telling stories which are true, but telling those stories in such ways that it's relatable to the target market. So why does your business need storytelling if you are not already telling those stories? It's an effective way to merge the functional with the emotional. Remember, I spoke earlier on about a brand being both functional and emotional. And so storytelling enables you to tell your stories both from a functional and emotional basis. And it enables the audience, the target market, to journey with you and inspire action. Ultimately, when you incorporate storytelling into your marketing strategy, what you do is you build a stronger connection with your customers. It helps you to differentiate your brand and then showcases the value that your product or your service is offering to the marketplace. That's why Nike has a strong connection with its target market. Same for Coca-Cola, same for an Apple brand. And there are learnings that we can take from those brands. So what are the essential elements of a story, of storytelling? And please note that it doesn't have to be only about a TV commercial or a video. You can storytell even with still shots, but I'll still come to that. So elements are, you must be clear in your mind, what are the key takeaways that you would like the target market to take? What is the sequence of events that you have that you want to tell in terms of a story? What's the setting, the time and place in which the story is taking place? And then the tonality. What's the tone that you want to have in terms of the story you want to tell? It can be formal, it can be informal, it can be serious, it can be humorous. What kind of language do you want to use? What kind of pictures do you want to create in the mind of the reader? And then what's the speed at which your story is being told? And then what kind of voice do you want to use? Is it you yourself as the founder or as the CEO? Or is it a third-party narration? Or is it a conversation between two or more people? And then what's the tension point? What is the hook, as is said in storytelling? What is that key point that you want consumers or the target market to take away? And what is the key, like I said at the beginning, what's the key takeaway? What's the key purpose behind the story that you are seeking to tell? So what are the steps, some steps that you need to consider to execute your storytelling strategy for your businesses? A beginning point, and I always like to say this for every business, regardless of the industry or sector that you play, is you need to start from clarifying who your target market is. And that speaks to about segmentation and targeting. And simply put, segmentation is about determining the portion of the market that you want to focus on. And it's really important that you do that because it will enable you to focus. And I speak to why it's important. The world is about 8 billion people. Africa is about 1.x billion people. So the market for food consists of various buyers and users. And it's very difficult to have one size that fits all. And so depending on the markets that you're playing, depending on the countries that you're playing, segmentation will help you to focus and target appropriately. because then you will understand who your target market is. You will be able to tell better stories that resonates better with the appropriate target market. One of the challenges that entrepreneurs or smaller business face is the resource to build their brands. And part of the feedback many times is, oh, we don't have the budget for it. But segmentation helps you because then you can create cost-effective marketing, branding, and storytelling strategies when you segment. And with segmentation, it helps you to build customer loyalty, and you can tailor your strategies to the focused segments and also enable you in terms of the impact that omni-channel strategy will give you. And I'm going to come to the issue around enhancing your omni-channel strategy. That's really going to be important for you in your storytelling execution. And so what are the processes for segmentation? Customer mapping. Understand who your customer is. And you understand that by asking certain questions. Who are they? Who are the key influencers? When are they likely to purchase your products? Right? Where are they purchasing your product from? Who are the other players, competitors within that sector that you're playing in? So once you map the customer and then undergo variables, understanding their demography, their socioeconomic class, their location, geography-wise, their psychography, their lifestyle, it enables you to profile them appropriately and understand what their needs and motivations are. When you understand what their needs and motivations are, the platforms through which they get communication, then that will guide you in terms of what platforms that you can relate with them on. Let me give you a quick example. Your target market, if your target market happens to be a person between age 18 to 25, the kind of communication and the platforms that you use would likely be different from if your target market is a 55-year-old and above. For example, if you're going to be on a social media platform, 18 to 25, you are probably likely to be relating with them more on TikTok or Instagram, whereas a 55-year-old and above is more likely to be found on Facebook. That's why it's so important as part of your storytelling strategies and building your brand that you profile your target market and segment appropriately. And so this is just a very simple, rough example. It can be a lot more detailed than this of how you begin to define who your target market is. You profile them, not just about their demography, not just about their location, but also their lifestyle, the things they like to do, their psychography. And you relate it to the agri sector or the agri-allied sector that you are playing in. And then once you've defined who your target market is, you then build your positioning. How do you want to be perceived by the target market? The questions to ask is, what do you offer, or what can you offer the target market as a value proposition that is different from others that are playing in your sector, or that is potentially superior to what others are offering? So the question you need to answer is, what is your point of difference? It is when you have a point of difference that is clear that you can tell the appropriate stories that are credible, that are meaningful and sustainable to the target market. So again, I say, what problem are you solving? What is the solution that you're offering? What is your point of difference? So a combination of your differentiation focused on the target market, the segments that you're playing in, then enables you to build a value proposition from which you can then build your stories. So a Google will say part of their brand proposition is to satisfy every curiosity. And every story that Google tells and puts out there is about satisfying people's curiosity, answering questions. A Dulux will talk about adding color to people's lives. A Dulux may not necessarily show a jar of paint, right? But it will have a lot of color in terms of how it speaks and tells the story. The same thing about a Harley Davidson cycles. Their proposition is about fulfilling dreams of personal freedom. And so it's not just about riding a bike. It's about how they make the target market feel. So these are just like some examples that we can pick from. And so as we build who the target market is, clarify who your segment is and what your value proposition is, you can then begin to look at telling your stories. So I offer some tips. One, be authentic. Do not fake it. Do not tell lies. Be truthful in terms of what you're projecting to the market. Because there's value in being authentic. There's value in being differentiated. And as I spoke earlier on about brand identity, share genuine stories that reflect your business values and mission, which means that your business, your brand must have a set of core values, must have a mission that you can project to the marketplace. Secondly, define your brand voice. Establish a consistent tone and language that reflects your brand's personality and values. Again, using ready examples. If you see a Coca-Cola ad, even if you don't see the name Coca-Cola, you are likely to almost be able to guess that it's a Coke ad because of the established tone and language over a period of time that reflects the brand personality and values. 3, use language as descriptive to bring your stories to life. So use a combination of sights and sounds, and if possible, smells. Seek to appeal to as many senses, the 5 senses of the human being, plus the sixth sense, the emotional. Don't just tell. Storytell, show and tell. Of visuals, of audio. Seek to bring out what your unique selling points are. And so speaking to the agri sector, what are some of the sustainable practices that you can speak about? What are some of the local sourcing that you can speak about? What are some of the innovative techniques that you're implementing in your businesses that you can speak about? And so what's really important in your storytelling is that you're sharing valuable and relevant content that educates them about what you do, what your business does, what your business offers, but also entertains them and inspires them, and then positions your brand as a leader in your industry. So I like to use the phrase edutaining. So make sure that what you're putting out to your target market is edutaining, both educative, entertaining. Speaking about your brand, but not just about your brand, but the benefits that your brand is offering and the good that you're doing in the marketplace. 5, when you tell such edutaining stories, it then builds your human connection, the connection with the consumer, with the target market, with various stakeholders. And so part of your story will be story behind your products, for example, as an example, highlighting the people behind the product. So speaking about farmers, speaking about customers, speaking about the processes that entailed in your businesses, and the passion that is involved. And subsequently, I'm going to share some story ideas with you. So as I said earlier on, don't just use text, use visuals as well. Use videos, use visual elements to enhance your storytelling. And this is not just about social media, and I'm going to come to that as well, because there are various touch points that you can use. So use visuals, be consistent in the visuals that you use, your visual identity. So your logo must be consistent. Your color schemes must be consistent, and also the typography that you use across all media platforms. You shouldn't be a situation where your look and feel on Instagram, for example, is different from LinkedIn or Facebook. Okay, so be consistent in terms of your visual identity. 7th is be creative, be concise, be clear. Let your stories be concise and focused. Avoid unnecessary details. Attention span of the average consumer today is short, and therefore you need to have hooks and stories that educate and entertain quickly so that people do not just switch and move on. So be creative, but then be concise and clear. And then engage with target audience. Don't just post and go on social media. Engage, respond to comments, messages, and reviews, also in a personalized manner. When you do that, especially on social media, you build relationships and trust. One of the reasons why a lot of businesses do not build a strong relationship on social media is they only just post, they don't engage. I know some companies or banks, for example, where when they post on say Instagram, a lot of consumers come and complain about issues in terms of service, but they didn't then respond to the target market, to the consumers. So it's important that part of your storytelling is not just about posting, it's about engaging with the target audience, getting feedback and responding to the comments that are made. And then when you engage with your target market, when you engage, they on their own, especially when they begin to really relate strongly with you, they will generate content for you. And so encourage your followers that you have on social media to share content that features your brand, or reshare what you put as content. In that way, your visibility will increase. 10, use hashtags. Seek to use relevant hashtags that are related to your content, so that increases your visibility and attracts new followers and enhances your visibility. So the use of hashtags is important. 11th point is collaborate with influencers. Now, influencers are anyone who can influence your brand visibility. And let me just put a caveat to this. It's not just about celebrities. Influencer marketing on social media particularly is not just about celebrity macro influencers. It can be micro influencers that don't have as many influencers as celebrities. So the micro could be between 10,000 and 100,000, but your nano could be even less than 10,000. So it depends on the sector, the product that you're putting out in the market. But influencer marketing is a useful way to drive visibility, but it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be nano influencers. And then the 12th and final tip I would like to give is be consistent. Share your stories consistently across your marketing channels. And I use the word marketing channels deliberately here because it's not just about social media. Social media is extremely important, but determine who your target market is, because there could be some other channels that are relevant to your target market beyond social media. So be consistent in sharing your story. Build a content plan. Do not be ad hoc about how you're sharing your stories. Build a plan. It could be a 1-month plan, a 3-month plan. It could be tentative, but at least have a plan. And let your content plan be a mixture of promotional, which we are talking about your products, your services, but also educational. Let it be engaging so that your audience, your target market is engaged and interested and keeps engaging with you. So those are 12 tips. And I just give here an example of a content calendar of how it can work. You can look at week 1, look at a Monday, a Friday, days of the week. But it's important that at least you are posting. Someone once asked me, is there a guidance in terms of how many times must you post? I think if you're able to post every day, great, but it could get boring. But at least try and post 1-2 times a week on social media on the relevant social media platforms. So that's just an example of a content plan. So what are some story ideas for you to think about? And again, like I said, it's not just about social media. It can be terrestrial television, it can be radio, it can be print formats. But social media is a key channel in today's world, especially for if your target market happens to be Gen Zs and millennials. So a story idea could be your product development process from farm to table or farm to bottle. If you, for example, you happen to be a juice brand, from farm to bottle, farm to table could be a story you can tell. And in that storytelling, you're describing the process of growing, harvesting, and delivering products to customers. Or you could tell the story behind a new product development, about the innovation that you're putting into place, the benefits to the target market. So food and nutrition, you can tell a story around nutrition, for example, the A to Z of nutrition. You can tell a story around that and how your product fits into that story. You could look at farmer profiles and testimonials, how you engage with the farmers, how the farmers help to grow ingredients, highlighting their dedication and expertise. That's a story you could tell. In today's world, the SDGs are really important. Sustainable practices, the environmental impact. You could share stories about eco-friendly practices that you have, such as organic farming, permaculture, or regenerative agriculture. 4, story idea, you could look at your product origin, the craftsmanship that goes behind the development of the product, the manufacture of the product. If you're in manufacturing sector, the agri-light, for example. You could speak about how you engage with the community, the social responsibility activities that you engage with various stakeholders, the support you give local communities, local events, and other stakeholders involved in your business. Another story idea is the founder story. You could share how your business started, highlighting your passion, your purpose, for example, in terms of closing or addressing food security. You could tell a story around food security. Another story idea, number 7, is share stories of how you've overcome challenges in the course of your farming or in the course of your manufacturing. So those are 7 story ideas that I hope that someone can pick some thoughts from. Now, in terms of channels, therefore, where having developed your storytelling, your ideas, your concepts, you consider touch points, right? And a touch point is a moment in time and space when your brand or your business comes in contact with the target market, or can come in contact with the target market. And so I just want to make this point that it's not only about social media, which I'm going to come to as well, but please bear in mind that your storytelling can cut across touch points, any moment in time and space when your brand comes in contact with the consumer, which means that can also be physical. You can tell your stories physically through events, through trade shows. So think about touch points as an opportunity for your storytelling, not that goes beyond social media. Now, speaking about social media, we have a plethora of platforms. The point I would like to reiterate is you do not have to be on all platforms. What you must consider is a platform that is relevant for your target market. And that's why your storytelling and your branding strategy should start from clarifying and defining who your target market is. And so these are some other storytelling channels that you can utilize. Social media, which I've spoken about, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, other platforms, depending on who your target market is. You can run social media ads to increase your brand's visibility and also drive website traffic and generate leads to your business. It will be useful to have your own website, right? So own your own website where you can create a blog or stories section, and therefore you can also share more stories on your website. So what would then happen is that whatever you post on social media, you can drive traffic to your website where you can speak a lot more than you can perhaps on social media. You may want to consider newsletters where you can share your stories with email subscribers, highlighting what you're doing, new products that you have, the benefits of your business. 4, you can also have in-person events, trade shows, and you share stories through live presentations, workshops, or demonstrations. I know someone who is in the business of smoothies, agro-allied smoothies. She gets her juices from farmers, but then she's very present at events, wedding events, for example, where she samples the smoothies. And that then helps to drive her business and links up with her social media activities. 5, channel video content is key. Research confirms in today's world that video content drives stronger visibility than still shots. So video content is really important. So video stories on YouTube, on social media like Instagram or your website, really important. And then as I begin to wrap this up, there are 8 key marketing trends that you need to think about, some of which I've already spoken about. Being targeted is key. Targeting is key. Using video is important. Also consider video marketing, micro-influencers I've spoken about, AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, and also ensuring that all that you do on mobile is able to be mobile enabled. Again, a case study for those who follow Airtel in Nigeria and other parts, they've really done some great work on storytelling. And so that's a useful case study for you to just consider. And as I wrap up and end, the key thing is that there's a sweet spot in your storytelling, the stories you are telling, the stories others are telling about you, and the stories that you're putting out. The sweet spot is that there should be alignment within all the stories that you're telling. On that note, I will end and say thank you very much. We're happy to take any questions or comments that we may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lampe. That was quite an in-depth session. I'm certain that people paid thousands of nairas, maybe let me use dollars because all of us like dollars, to get insights for these sessions. So let's say drop our thank yous, and then I would love us to drop what has been our main key takeaway from this session. What are you taking away from this session so Mr. Lampe can see it? What have you learned from this session, and what are you going to be implementing in your business going forward? Thank you so much. So I think we'll put a hold on the Q&A session, so we have our second speaker come up, then we can have the Q&A sessions together. I can see Femi saying there should be consistency, there should be alignment and consistency. That's great. Let's keep on the sending in the key takeaways. He would be in the chat box reading them and taking note of that. So please, if we can share, bring up the screen again. We'll be moving on to our second speaker for today's session. So while slide is coming up, I can see it's important to be unique and consistent, and then that uniqueness should be across all your social media platforms. Great, thank you so much. Abdurrahman said, I just learned how important it is to have a social media presence. Iyang Idiogo, I hope I pronounced the name right. If I don't, so sorry, says a key takeaway is positioning your brand. Thank you so much. So let's keep the key takeaways coming. Nancy Roberts, that's actually my main key takeaway, saying that say the truth about your brand, say your story, say it truthfully and loud. And I hope you get to do that when, after this session, I hope we'll start doing that. So our second speaker for today is, just a couple of seconds to have the slide up, apologies. So our second speaker for today is Cyrus Abo. He is a seasoned marketing strategist and a creative director. So with over a decade of experience transitioning ideas into high impact results driven campaigns, as the founder and creative force behind Aegeon Studios, he has played a pivotal role in shaping the digital narratives of African leading brands, including Guinness Nigeria. If you're in Nigeria, you should be familiar with that. Close Up, FCMB, and other major brands. He's a self-taught videographer and a visionary storyteller. Cyrus brings a unique blend of strategic insight and creative execution to every project. His work sits at the intersection of strategy, storytelling, and innovation. So with a virtual round of applause, let us welcome our speaker to the stage. Thank you, thank you. While his slide is still coming, let's welcome our speaker. I want to see claps, I want to see emojis, I want to see welcome. I want to see we look forward to learning from you. Let us keep it jumping. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on today's session, Cyrus, to share from your wealth of experience. And we look forward to learning from you. Over to you, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just indicate.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. I can.
Okay. Okay, so I want to say a big thank you to the previous speaker. I'm really excited about the angles that are coming from, because we're coming from two different angles on the same goal. Very experienced marketing leader, and I definitely want to connect with you after now. I really appreciate the technical aspect, especially from the top line, the technical aspect of marketing from a brand and all of that. And that makes a lot of sense. Now, my topic is how to build visibility and influence in agri-food. So just a quick about me, right? I have 10 plus years experience in marketing and communications. I've been directly involved in over $5 million of campaign executions. I've worked in PR, advertising, strategy, and content. I'm currently the founder and creative director at Aegon Studios, Aegon precisely. I love dogs, I love travel, I love adventure and storytelling, and I'm a future vertical farmer. I actually plan to do my master's in biotechnology because I want to go into vertical farming in the future. What inspired that was when I traveled. I spent some time in East Africa in 2021. So between Rwanda, Uganda, so I saw somebody from Uganda. Uganda is one of my favorite places in the world. So I enjoyed staying there. And I saw how the agricultural landscape there. And I was like, it would be nice to invest into this market, especially for vertical farming. Now, these are a cross-section of some of the brands I've worked with and for different executions. There's just a few of them. Now, because I don't have a lot of time, I will just jump straight into it from a different dimension. Why does visibility matter? The first thing is trust. People buy from who they know. In fact, in marketing, there's something that in personal branding and marketing, there's something we say. We say people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. Do you understand? Now, if you notice, I didn't say brand. I say people, because the marketing landscape has changed. In the past, previously, when it was 10 years ago, it was easy to sell a brand. It was easy to send a logo. It was easy to sell all of that. But now, because of the advent of social media, there's the personification of brands. So brands have become people. Facebook was getting a lot of bad rep. Mark Zuckerberg was seen as this capitalist that is just taking over the entire social media market. There was a lot of bad rep for him. So what did he do? He became a content creator. He changed his hair. He bought a big chain. He's now wearing t-shirts. He'll do videos of himself surfing. He essentially personified Facebook as himself, showing that he's connecting with people. He's going around. If you think he's a lie, go and check Mark Zuckerberg's Instagram. You'll see that it has radically changed because he hired a PR company to help him personify the brand. So, and for people to see him as a person, for people to now begin to like him and trust him. And trust, visibility creates trust. Trust translates to sales. So there is no benefit of you staying invisible. And we'll get into that. So the second benefit why visibility matters is opportunities. From export deals, grants, partnerships, media, connections, referrals, etc. You don't, one of my former bosses, there's something he used to say to us, and I absolutely love it, and I wanted to share with you guys. And this person, one of my former bosses, he was a billionaire, right? So, and when a billionaire tells you something, you take it seriously. He always said this thing. He said, if you don't say, here I am, we will not say, there you are. Let me say it again. If you don't say, here I am, no one will say, there you are. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Are you still there?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so he used to say, if you don't say, here I am, nobody will say, there you are. So you are not serving your business, you're not serving your community, you're not serving the people who are dependent on you, you're not serving the industry by staying silent, because it's even important that you gain more visibility, because that creates healthy competition, and competition improves the overall quality of products. It improves the services that customers are getting, and ultimately it forces you to grow. So there are a lot of opportunities that you lose when you stay invisible. Number 3, why visibility matters is market value. There's the actual value and there's perceived value. So, and like they say, perception eventually becomes reality. That's the way I like to say it. When you have a lot of visibility around your brand, and like the previous speaker said, talked about consistency, all of that, you have the opportunity to assign whatever value you want to it, to whatever you're selling, even your product. About 2 months ago, when the Donald Trump sanctions went all over media, China responded by showing how Birkin bags are made and all of that, and the actual cost of those things. So in China, the actual production cost of a Birkin bag is, say, $150. But the display price of the same thing with that brand on top is, say, $12,000. Why? Because market value, due to visibility, due to storytelling, all of that. So this is, there's no downside to visibility. And number 4, which is very, very, very important, is stakeholder confidence. There are people who you want to do business with. There are people who you want to maybe, how will I put it? You want them to maybe invest in you, give you money, whatever, the more visibility you have, the more they believe that, okay, this person is bankable, you know. Right now, if you don't, whether you believe it or not, social media following, I was watching a report, I was watching a documentary on like Hollywood right now. And they say one of the biggest challenges that actors are having in Hollywood now is that it is no longer about talent, it's also about your social media following, because the person who wants to hire you to act in the movie is also thinking about how the strength of your following can help in the promotion of the movie. But in the past, you didn't just audition, get your part right, and you're good to go, you see. So even in Hollywood now, people are considering your visibility. Stakeholder confidence is a major reason why visibility matters. Now, what are the common myths? And this is to address the people in this room. Number one, most agripreneurs tell themselves, see, just focus on the work. Let our work will speak for ourselves. Listen, nobody will see you if you don't speak for yourself. Nobody will, like the quote says, if you don't say, here I am, nobody will say, there you are. Do you understand? Sometimes, you know, I run a studio here, a working photo studio, and I post a lot on my WhatsApp. Yesterday, I posted about 8 stories, status of this about our work in the studio, you know, people that had visited, etc. Believe me, before the end of that day, in fact, like about midday, somebody replied and said, and I posted a lot of our work. Then in between, I put a WhatsApp status that say, you are still watching my status, Abi. You, yes, you. When are you going to come to the studio? And then somebody saw that thing, replied it with laughter and said, you know what, my birthday is tomorrow, I'm coming. That's how I closed the sale. I showed what we were doing, I put a call to action, and somebody saw that and took action, and I made money. Do you understand? But if I say, oh, my work will speak for itself, yes, there's that dimension, but you have to promote your work. So that's one of the first myths. Second myth is that agripreneurs tell themselves is our industry is boring. We're very technical. We need to focus on what we're doing. There's not much that is exciting about what we're doing. It's a myth. The fact that a lot of people don't understand what you do because it is technical, they just see the end result, oh, product. That gives you an edge. That gives you an opportunity because you can effectively do customer education. You can show people who you are, what you do, and why it matters. Let me say that again. You can show people who you are, what you do, and why it matters. You cannot say our industry is boring because that's actually the opportunity. People don't know these things, so educate them and translate it into a buying decision. Number 3, we are not influencers. What does it mean to influence? It's essentially you have, through whatever content they're putting out, they have the opportunity to change or guide a person's decision-making process through the things that you're putting out. Do you understand? You don't need to be you don't need to be an influencer, like the line there says. You just need to be trusted. Do you understand? And visibility creates trust. So I put together something called the visibility pyramid. I'm going to rush through because I don't have a lot of time. So this is, let me switch so you can see. I'll come back, but if you can see the order, this is the order of the visibility pyramid. And I came up with this. Number 1 is presence. Number 2 is proof. Number 3 is positioning. And number 4 is partnership magnetism. So let's go back. The visibility pyramid. Sorry, I know I'm rushing because of time, but if you're still with me, can you like react? If you're learning anything, okay, great, awesome. Okay, so the first thing is presence. Before I even get into that, you have to understand that visibility takes a bit of time, you know. Okay, thank you. I can see the hands. Visibility takes time and it's built in layers, but each layer leads to the next one. So if you don't check out on the first one, you can't get to the last one. So the first thing is presence. Are you even discoverable? And by being discoverable, we're talking about your digital footprint. You know, if somebody searches you, Googles you, do they find you? So this is talking about, like the first speaker said, it's not just social media. There are other syndications that link to your social media when it comes to promotions. Talking about your website, for example, search engine optimization, very key. Your public mentions, Google My Business, all these things. If somebody searched your name or your business, will they find you? You as the chief advocate or the promoter for the business, do you even have a LinkedIn profile? Do you have anywhere that you post the work that you're doing, that you talk about it? Are you attending events, etc.? So essentially, are you discovering, is there a footprint for you and your business? That's the first thing. If you don't have this, you can't even talk about, and have you established your channels? Because now we're talking about channels and all of that, where you can deploy all of your promotions. If you don't have that already, we can't go to the next point. So second thing in the visibility pyramid is proof. So we've talked about presence. The next one is proof. Are you showing impact? Are you showing results? Are you showing progress? This talks about like maybe customer feedback, before and after case studies. We talked about testimonials, deliveries. You just show a video of, oh, we got this thing and we're delivering to this person. You can get a WhatsApp screenshot of somebody saying, oh, thank you. If they didn't even send it, you can ask them. Shamelessness is power. Don't allow shame. Say, oh, no, how will I ask this person? Listen, we live in a world where you find a number of these artists. If you follow Nigerian music, the Nigerian music industry, there are some artists that you wonder, how is this person popular? Has it ever happened to you? Like, you listen to some of these artists that you see the way they sing, and you're like, there's no depth, nothing, but the person is famous. They're making money. Why? Because they don't have shame. But you that has shame, how has your shame helped you? Whereas, oh, I'm shy. Oh, I don't know. Shamelessness and visibility are mutually exclusive. You cannot have two of them in the same WhatsApp. Shamefulness and visibility are mutually exclusive. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. Do you understand? And then so part of that is asking for proof. If you deliver something and a person maybe had a good experience, call them, ask them, hey, can you send me a WhatsApp message of your experience, or can you do a video, etc.? Do you understand? Get testimonials. Record your work record your products, record your value chain, etc. So that's for proof. 3, positioning, still in your visibility pyramid, and this was talked about earlier. Are you seen as a leader or just another vendor? Ask yourself that. Am I seen as a leader, or do I want to be seen as a leader or just another vendor? So this has to now do with position is in 2 ways. Number 1, what do you want to be known for? And 2, who do you want to speak to? So what do you want to be known for, and who do you want to speak to? For example, the example that was given in the previous presentation, we talked about like the switch for Nike and all that. Nike started as a running company, and they were positioned for people who were runners. And eventually the business evolved to not just athletes, but it was focused on people who were not necessarily active, but liked to look cool. Meanwhile, you have other brands like Puma that were just core athletics. If you want to, we don't care whether you look cool. Our clothes are not for you to wear them with jeans. Nike adjusted to look cool with jeans. Puma is just racetrack, whatever. They were clear about their positioning. You also have to be able to decide, what do I want to be known for? Are you the go-to person for, say, exports of palm oil, for example, agro-processing, whatever it is that you're doing, livestock, in that livestock, do you want to be positioned as the person that knows everything about, say, goat herding, cattle herding, tomato farming, whatever, avocados, the entire value chain? Do you want to be known as the person that knows everything about the entire value chain around, say, avocados, for example? There was one documentary I watched on Netflix. Because I like avocados, I eat avocado a lot. I saw a documentary that talked about the multi-billion-dollar industry around avocado. And there were about 2 or 3 farmers that were the guys they educated people about the value chain around avocados, how they do the different. I did not even know avocado had different species. I didn't know that there are almost like 10 different species. and all that. But these guys had positioned themselves as authorities, and that's why Netflix was able to go to them, pay them money to feature them in this platform. And of course, that will also drive sales, naturally, because now I've watched that. If I want to tomorrow invest in avocados, those guys are the people I'll go for. And fourthly, which is the last thing, partnership magnetism, are opportunities chasing you. So you see, if you've gotten your presence right, you are showing your proof, you are documenting and showing your proof, you are clear about your positioning. That is what you want to be known for and who you want to speak to. Do you understand? Of course, this positioning thing goes both ways. Ideally, you should even start with your positioning, right? You start with that, but then you have to keep checking because your brand will evolve, your business will evolve. So you start, positioning should occur in two places, beginning and at that place. You have to keep checking in again. And then, because if you have your positioning right, you can now decide what type of partnerships you want to get into, because partnerships will start coming. Brands will start reaching out to you. Businesses will come for, to start looking for you and all of that, etc. So you can now make the decision, I want to be associated with this. I don't want to be associated with this. Are we together? If you're still here, can you react? Great. Please, if you have any questions, you can also note them. Now, what are key channels to build influence in today's world that are relevant to what you do? Number one is Instagram. Instagram is visual storytelling. Things like from your farm to market journey. Secondly is LinkedIn for industry leadership and thought pieces. So this LinkedIn is now, like, for you, the founder, the driver, and all of that. It's a great place to be seen. I know many people are afraid of LinkedIn. I don't know why. Many people just don't like going to LinkedIn. Not to talk of people in the agri industry. You're like, what am I going to do here? What am I going to say? Everybody's announcing. I'm happy to share that I just got this job, or I'm happy to announce. And then you, as an agri entrepreneur, like, what am I happy to announce? You're happy to announce that you don't even have to announce anything. You have to say, oh, well, at my business, or this, you call your brand name, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, and all of that. You can also comment on other people that are in the industry. If there are innovations, emerging trends, you can write things about, for example, how AI is changing the future of artificial intelligence and tomato production. This is just a random topic. You can quickly do your research, put together a piece, and write it. Over time, people will see you as an authority in that space, and they'll reach out to you for business. So that's for LinkedIn. YouTube Shorts and TikTok, I'm putting them together because YouTube Shorts and TikTok are closer in behavior than Instagram now. Instagram has matured as a plastic platform. What do I mean by that? Instagram is for perfection. It's for the glam. Your video has to be, decently edited and all of that. Meanwhile, TikTok is more optimized for, like, behind the scenes. It doesn't have to be perfect. People are not looking for perfection on TikTok. People are looking for show us how it is. That's the same way it is for YouTube Shorts. So you see quick demos, meat busting, harvest days. You see, harvest days are not the cleanest days because of, say, for example, you're harvesting, which is why we use this image there. There's humus, there's compost on the floor, all of that. That works very well for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. That's a great platform to post this kind of content. But Instagram is the clean one, the very doctored one. Do you understand? Now, WhatsApp and email is for relationship building and B2B nurturing, because you need to be able to engage your audience. And the previous speaker talked about that. WhatsApp is a great place. The truth of the matter is that even for me being here, ask the person that was following up with me, one of the team members on African Changemakers. I need to give a shout out to African Food Changemakers. I loved your follow-up. Email is not, I've moved on. The average Nigerian has moved on from email. You meet a business leader, if you're exchanging numbers, the next thing they're asking you, is this your WhatsApp number? These are serious people. They ask you because email now is like a nice to have. In the 10 years ago, it was a must-have. Emails are nice to have now. The primary place for day-to-day engagement is WhatsApp. So if you be posting nonsense on your WhatsApp stories or status, you are missing out on a huge marketing opportunity. You're missing out on, and then you also have people that may be there that are following your status, and they'll say, this person is not a serious person. Do you understand? So WhatsApp, email, but I'm grouping them together because in Nigeria, WhatsApp is rapidly, I don't know how it is in other markets, but I know in Nigeria, WhatsApp is easily 80% replacing email now as the primary channel for corporate communications day to day, especially when you're dealing with the individual. And last but not least, Google My Business. And that's local visibility. It's important that you do the Google My Business. So if they search you, they're able to see where you are, your open times, your close times, etc. Are we together? Now, I'm going to give you guys free of charge content pillars that you can run with, right? These are content pillars that you can run with for this industry. Number one is founder story and vision. This is very important. Remember, people do business with people now, not brands. They do business with people. So they want to know your founder story and your vision. This agribusiness that you're running, why are you doing it? These are some of, I was in a meeting with high-level investors, and the first question that the person, they were interviewing a business owner that was looking for investment. The first question the person, the founder asked him is, why are you doing this? What's your story? Well, sorry, the exact question was, what's your story and why do you decide to do this? That was the first question. Why? Because they're trying to feel out to hear. So they want to know what is driving you. When it gets hard, what will keep you? Do you understand? If you are just in it for the money, then you can't survive it because there'll be times and seasons. But if you should be able to put out your story. If you have something that is motivating you beyond money, if this thing is something that you deeply care about, you need to be able to put out that story. You remember, my topic is how to build visibility using storytelling. How to build visibility and influence in agri-food. The focus is storytelling, right? So founder story and vision, that's very important. Number one. Number two content pillar is your impact in the community. So there are several creative ways you can do this. You can show where your business is, how your business is changing the community, is affecting the community, people that you're hiring. These are the things that build emotional capital in the audience. Do you understand? And they're saying, oh, we like this thing. Oh, we see what they're doing. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're making this impact to the community. And then they say, we want to do business with you. We want to buy your product. Because at that point, it's no longer a logical decision. It's an emotional decision. 3, process transparency. This is, like we talked about TikTok and all that. You are showing the how-tos. So you're showing what you are doing already. So this one is not that you are teaching. We'll get to that. That's customer. You see the education. There's the one where you do content where you're teaching people, how-tos. But there's the one of showing what you are doing. So you're showing your back end. You're showing, if you say you run a poultry, you're showing the poultry. You're showing how you guys are building a sustainable business, because even the chicken, what's it called? The chicken waste, how you guys are using it to run a farm here or all of that. People like that and they're connecting with you. Then of course, partnership and testimonials is very important. You need to get, if you secure a partnership, put it out there. Oh, so farms connect, enters partnership with it. We see these things. Big companies are multi-billion brands. Every single partnership is promoted. Every single partnership is announced, because that's also a layer of validation. But with our small people, we'll get a business deal, we'll get this thing, we'll just keep quiet. You even forget to take pictures. You went for a meeting, you signed, you closed the deal. Take a picture. Say, can we just stand and take a picture? And then put it out on your social media. You can pay for press. That's going beyond social media. You can do to PR and pay for a PR to put up those things. So those are the things that even help your search engine optimization. If, say, you do a press publication that your business got into this partnership with this and all that, the more backlinks you are having. For example, now if you come to meet me to build a Wikipedia page for your business, if you don't have backlinks, we can't do it. Do you understand? You need to have multiple mentions, and those are the things that help you to gain visibility. You cannot say, hey, I'm not photogenic. We don't care. We are interested in the moment, not your face. Do you understand? So take a picture. The next partnership you have, the next deal you have, take a picture. If you are the type of person that doesn't like, write it, get a sheet of paper, take a picture and paste it on your wall so you are reminded, or in your office, that you need to start documenting stuff. Are we together? Two more education. We've talked about this, how to use market trends, still on your content pillars, how to use market. Oh, here's how to wash tomatoes the right way. And these things blow up on TikTok a lot. Last but not least, behind the scenes. So behind the scenes is, maybe how you guys set up the farm, how you are doing this. There's so much. I mean, I'm not an industry expert in agriculture, but I know you know what I'm talking about. You can already picture the kind of things that fall into this heading, behind the scenes. All right. So case studies. These are two brands that were heavy on, what's it called? Visibility and storytelling. I was directly involved in content marketing for one of them, which is Farm Crowdy. And through the content that we worked on, I was involved in like video production, direction, etc. for Farm Crowdy. They were able to raise $1 million because they had social proof and it was documented. They raised $1 million and all that. Of course, what they did with the money is a different conversation, but they got the money they were looking for. Do you understand? Because they had social proof. And of course, there's Thrive Agric. Thrive Agric raised 56. This is even a 2022 article as of that time. And if you go and check Thrive Agric, you see how they were very intentional about being visible, because visibility builds trust. Trust translates to sales and funding. Are we together? So now, what do you lose? I'm rounding up now. What do you lose by staying invisible? Number one, you miss export opportunities that you would have easily gotten because people see you. Do you understand? And you have to understand that the world is bigger than Africa. And Africa is right now, this is a great time to be doing anything in Africa, because the spotlight is becoming, Africa right now is the final frontier for development. The old world, England, to a large extent, US, Asia, but England and Europe as a whole, a lot of innovation has slowed down. All resources are already spent. Africa is still the place that now has the highest youth population. By 2035, Nigeria will be the third most populous nation in the world, only after India and China. And so many other African countries represented here. Your populations will have increased. And not only will they have increased, the bulk of that population, 65 to 70%, say, let me not exaggerate, say approximately, say 55% of that population demographic will be less than age 35. So you will have millions of people on the continent that are in working age that are between 15 to 35, right? They will need to eat. And there are other people from abroad that want to buy things from Africa. So when you stay invisible, you lose export opportunities. You also lose funding, because we talked about Thrive Agric, we talked about Farm Crowdy, and I said I was involved in even Farm Crowdy, so I know how everything came together. You may not get funding even if you're making impact. There's a Nigerian artist that did a song. I forgot the name of the song now. His name was formerly Buju. Buju, he said, if you no get money, it kill idea. If you don't understand pidgin English, let me translate. He said, if you don't have money, even your idea can die, right? So by staying invisible, you leave a lot of money on the table. Then number three, lesser, in quote, lesser, that means brands that may not even be as technical as you, that may not have a very elaborate quality process as you, that may not have put in as much work as you, but are loud about even the small one they are doing. You will see lesser brands get picked. And then, of course, you can't charge premium, which is low margins. Your business will have low margins because you don't have brand equity. Do you understand? You don't have brand equity. You can't charge premium for anything. Nobody knows you. So if you want to increase your margins, you can't, because nobody knows you. So there's no benefit to being invisible. Now, I know my time is up, and I told I told the team that I would love to work with a few brands if you are interested. I didn't have the time to put together a link, so maybe I'll just drop my email address in Jumbotron. Just send me an email. I would maybe work with about 10 brands on maybe like a visibility accelerator for you guys, just something to help, work with you, maybe like 3 sessions, and just about 10 brands that are serious. So if you're interested, you can send me an email. I'll drop my email in the chat. So you can just send me an email with the title Visibility Accelerator, and I'm happy to help with just about 10 of you that are, well, let me not say 10, but just send me an email. I'll decide. I'll decide based on a preliminary check. All right. So thank you very much, and I'm open to your questions.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. That was straight to the point, and I can see a whole lot of comments. A lot of persons are saying value. I see somebody say we should bring you back again. So if I know a lot of persons will be interested in the accelerator program. Just reach out to Mr. Cyrus. He'll be dropping his email. Would also be sending it in our thank you emails, and also you can follow them on LinkedIn. Reach out to them via LinkedIn in case you missed the email. Just search their names. And also we have Mr. Lampe also has a book, Brand or Be Bland. My team members will be dropping it in the chat box so that you can go ahead and purchase the book and read. Like you already see a lot of insights, a lot of learnings. The book and this session, going to go ahead and reaching out to them would expand it and give you more detailed, personalized approaches for your business. Okay, so I don't think we have enough time for Q&A. We're like fast stretched beyond our time. We saw the way the sessions were just too insightful. We just didn't want to cut them. We want to give you the full value and not just cut short our speakers for today. So we'll just pardon me and give us an extra 15 minutes and we'll be rounding up. So we might have to skip the Q&A sessions. You would be reaching out to, there'll be their names, LinkedIn, and you can reach out to them. But I'll give an opportunity for 2 lucky persons to ask their question. First 2 hands I see raised up is the only questions we're going to be addressing, and we'll be moving on to the next session. Thank you. Moshood, please unmute and ask your question. Then 1 more person and we're done. Haruna, you'd be the next person. So just us all. Other team people who are interested in asking questions, just drop it in the chat box. We'll pick it up from there and share with our speaker. So go ahead, Moshood.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your question should please be straight to the point. Thank you.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Thank you all for the giveaway. Now, this is my question. What is the importance of color in branding? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so that should be addressed to Mr. Lampe. I think he's the one who spoke about logos and all. So please, sir, over to you.
Okay. All right. So colors have a number of impacts. So a number of things that color does is important. One, it first of all projects what you as a brand owner wants to project to the target market. And it's been found out, psychology tells us that colors actually have an impact on how people feel. Blue, for example, tends to denote things around peace. White also projects some kind of stillness. Black, gold projects some kind of premiumness. So colors are important, and so it depends on one, what impact you want to generate in the market, how you want people to feel about your brand, and yeah. So I think in the agri sector, for example, colors that have been found of food, colors around yellow, green, red seem to have useful connotation in the minds of the target market. Green as well. So colors are important. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Haruna, kindly ask your question, please. Just stay to the point. Thank you.
Yes. Please, this time around, how the modern agriculture is done, it involves a lot of cost. So how do we offshore the cost so that you can manage the cost all alone? Because buying machinery and other things is very costly for an individual to handle. So how do we handle such a situation?
I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think your question is really directed towards our class for today. That's visibility, branding, and storytelling. It's more related to finance. So do well to join our agri-funding series where we share insights on how you can get finance for your business, how you can structure it, how you can attract funding. The next session would be next week, Thursday. So do well to check it out on our social media platform and sign up for it. So I think that will be it for the questions for today. If you have any question, drop it in the chat box. We'll pick it up and share with the speakers. So you can also reach out to them directly and engage them. So please, let's have the slide up and let's move forward. But while the slide is going up, let's take snapshots. I love taking group pictures. It's like I call it family photos here at AFC. So let's have everyone turn on their screen. If you're going to reach out to Cyrus and Mr. Lampe, this is your evidence. He spoke about proof. You say, I was in this session today. I learned this, I learned that. This stood out for me. So let's turn on our camera, put on our best smile because we're going to be chakamming in the next few seconds. If your teeth is not showing like my own, you are wrong. So let's have more people turn on their camera. This is your evidence that you were in this session, evidence that you, oh, hello sir. And please, you can also screenshot from your end and post on social media. This is your first step, your proof, you putting yourself out there, building presence. Type in the, oh, I was a part of the African Food Changemakers session. I learned this and this and that. Mr. Lampe was there, Cyrus was there. These were my key takeaways from their session. Tag them. I'm certain they would be reposting it. They will comment on that. So let's team members on the call, let's help with the screenshot. So in the count of three, you would give your best smile. Like I'm smiling. Yours should be better than mine. So in 1, 2, and then 3. The new trend is says chakam. So let's thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much to our trainers, our facilitators. Reach out to them, and I'm certain they have given you value. This is just a bit from what they have. So imagine reaching out to them, personalized one. That would be like a whole lot. So please, let's bring up the slide. We'll be moving on. So for our next step, I'll just keep on going while the slide is coming up. I know we shared a incentive that if you register for this class. So for our first 10 persons, I wish I could do drum roll right now. So for our first 10 persons who joined today's session, I wouldn't be able to know now, but the first 10 persons who joined our session today, registered and joined. If you did not join, no. So if you were first 10 persons to register and join today's session, would be selected, have been selected actually for a free social media audit. So we're going to be going through all your social media accounts. You provide us with it, and we'll look through it. Our team will look at it and will give you like opinions and suggestions on how to better build your presence and position yourself. So we'll be reaching out to those 10 persons. So be on the lookout of your email. You never know who the lucky person will be. And so would reach out to those persons and ask them for their social media platforms and would engage them from there. Next slide, please. And then one of our major thing is, as a Kickstarter, because I will understand that a couple of persons here are not very strong at using social media. Some of them are shy, and you need an accountability group. So we are creating that. So we have the 7-day visibility challenge. What is this challenge all about? Is to increase your presence online. Like, I don't even want to talk a lot about it already because our speakers have done justice to why you need to be online. So this 7-day challenge is to help, especially those who are not comfortable, those that said they were shy, some of them that don't know what to post, how to start. So the 7-day visibility challenge will help you increase your visibility, start your agribusiness journey, sharing, also inspire others that are within your community. You think what you're doing is not great, so you start posting it online and people are inspired and interested in what you're doing. And also for you to get featured on our different platforms. We have over 100,000 people within our network, both email, social media. So this is an opportunity for you to also be featured on our platform. So we're going to be starting tomorrow. Like, strike while the iron is still hot. We're starting tomorrow and we'll be ending the next Wednesday after, that's next week Wednesday, which is June 20. Okay, Wednesday, yes, June 25th. And where would you be posting? On Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, your website, any platform you have readily available. You'll be posting on it. We'll be using the hashtag AgriStory Challenge, hashtag my AgriStory, You'll be sharing it. And with you, and then there is a link to a Telegram group by my colleagues. Please join that team or that group only. The link, the Telegram link is, you can see it on the screen. So you see it on the chat box. Click on it if you're interested in being part of the challenge. So if you're interested, please, I want to see I'm interested, I'm joining, I'm interested. So this challenge will have people who would be the people they'll be the first person to like your post. When you post it, you think that when I post, I only have 2 likes. People that will join the challenge would be your accountability partners, will be liking it, will be following it, will be sharing it. So join the group. Those are top entries, those that have amazing content that they've shared would be featured on social AFC's platform. So the challenge will be showing you what you do for day 1, what are you posting, day 2, we're posting this, day 3, we're posting this. So all those that are seeing interested, amazing. I hope you've joined the group. So join the group and we'll be sharing the challenge with you, what you'll be posting from day 1 to day 7. Content, very easy. If you're good with video, you do video. If it is write-up you want to use, if it is picture, there is no restriction, but we will be posting consistently for 7 days and you definitely see the changes it has on your business. So do well to join the group. Next slide, please. If you've joined the group, just come back and say, I've joined the group, I'm in already. And if you're excited to start creating content from tomorrow, also drop your emojis in the chat box. Let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So we'll be pushing out the feedback. We know we love feedback here at AFC. We grow based off of feedback. We learn based off of the feedback. We tailor our. Now we already know that based off of this class, we are coming back with another AgriStory 2.0, and it is going to be hotter, better, fresher. I don't know what other word I can use to better describe that. So I'm pushing out a poll that is asking you, what do you think today's session was? I already know that the trainers were amazing. So anything you want to say, I do not believe it, but I know it was a great session today. So what would you, do you now better understand branding? Are you confident on how you would use social media to promote your business? Which of the social media platforms will you now start focusing based off of all what our trainers have kindly dished out to us today? Which of the social media platforms do you think is best suited for what you do, or you're more comfortable using? Which one would you start with? And what is your biggest takeaway from this session? You can even go ahead to write the name of the trainer who said it. What is your biggest key takeaway? And are you willing to pay for a more advanced class session from this? Thank you so much to the first person who has answered. I wish I knew who you are, so I would give you a very big emoji, thumbs up, or anything. Thank you so much. Please, would really love to get your feedback. Please keep sharing them and also keep joining the group. So let's have more responses. Thank you so much. I've seen 7 persons, 8 persons now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your feedback. I almost feel like crying. I'm seeing a lot of persons saying today's session was excellent. Thank you so much. We have 10 persons. Let's hit it. Let's keep the responses coming. So while we have people answering the poll, next slide, please. Let's move on to the next slide, please. And thank you to everyone who has joined. So thank you to everybody who has joined today's session. I am certain that you have learned a lot and you have something you would use to start your journey, to show what the amazing work that you're doing. Don't stay hidden. Don't be what was this thing that the Bible says? Where you take a lamp, you light a lamp and you use a bottle or something to cover it. Don't be that. You're doing amazing work. Show your story, tell your story, let people know about you. But then while you are doing that, while we're getting more people to fill the survey and join the Telegram group, Stay connected with AFC. If you're not part of AFC community, I'm wondering what you are still doing. This is the first place where you start connecting with other people within your space and learning. So we are across over 49 countries, and we're going to keep going up and up till we cover the globe, Africa, actually, continent of Africa. So please join our community if you're not. Share your feedback with us, especially now with the poll on how we can improve. Follow us on social media. They say follow who know road, follow who know road. We're also doing amazing work on social media, giving our best in creating content, branding, visibility. You can learn from that too. So follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We are an organization, but we're yet there on TikTok and being showing people the real scene in behind AFC. So follow us everywhere and also subscribe to our newsletter. Don't forget to register for, we have our Scaling Exports program coming in Wednesday. So for those who are into exporting, interested in learning about exporting, already in exporting and have some challenges that they will need help navigating, don't forget to register for the training. I'm certain they will drop the link down. Also, we have our agri-funding, especially for person who, Haruna, who asked a question about funding and how to balance cost and everything. This should be a session you should be joining by next week, Wednesday. And also for our members already, make use of your marketplace. That's another free online platform you can use to push out your brand story and what you do and what you offer. So also utilize the marketplace. And if you're already part of the community and you have not referred anybody yet, refer a fellow agripreneur and let's keep growing and building together. And also our first Thursdays is coming next first Thursday of July. Do not also forget to join. Next slide, please. I promise to keep to 15 minutes, and I have one more minute, and I'm going to use this one extra minute to thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining our session. So the 125 person that have stayed till the end, you are the real MVPs. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Thank you for learning. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us. I see it about 77 persons have filled the survey. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And before I leave, let's take the next 1 minute to drop what are you going to be intentional going forward, especially for those joining the challenge I will be having. What is that one thing you're going to be intentional about going forward? What are you going to be taking? I can see Musa asking for the Telegram link in his email. We'll be sharing it to everybody who has joined today's session so you would get that. So what is your key takeaway? What are you picking out from today's session that you would be doing better? What are you going to be doing better going forward from today? If you don't use knowledge, I think it's always wasted. So ensure you utilize what you've picked up today and use it. And also, please, we say a very big thank you to our trainers for today. You have been amazing, sir, Mr. Lampe and Mr. Cyrus. Thank you so much. We'll be putting the emails, the contact details, their social media links in our emails, and also the link to the session for those who would want to be listening. This is something you want to keep listening and listening to. It sticks to your head because they say repetition is the key to learning. So you should do well to still go to our YouTube page right now on YouTube. It is being streamed live, and watch and rewatch till you embed this learning from today into your soul and every atom of your body. So on behalf of African Food Changemakers, my team members, and everybody, we want to say thank you so much to staying with us to the end. We hope you got value, and till we see you again next time, same place, on another session where we'll be dishing out knowledge and resources for you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And to those who will be joining the Telegram, we'll continue the conversation from there. Have an amazing rest of the day, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.